Hi, my name is John Petrucci. Welcome to my video. I'm going to be discussing and demonstrating various concepts, ideas, and approaches that have helped develop my style and sound. And hopefully you'll walk away with some insight on practicing and songwriting and developing your overall skills as a player. But before we start, let's make sure we're in tune. Here is my open A string. Get that in tune with your A string and then tune the rest of your guitar to that. I'll see you when you're done. Okay, I'd like to begin with some warm-up exercises, and we're going to start with a couple that don't involve the guitar at all. So put your guitar aside for a second. And what we're going to do here is we're going to stretch the muscles that basically are involved when you're playing guitar. And I really think this is essential to having a productive practice session or gig. And it's also essential to not hurting yourself and cramping up. And it's very similar to what an athlete would do before they went in to play a game or do some exercising. Okay, the first one begins with stretching the back and shoulders and arms. And guitar players tend to slouch when we practice, so these are really important. We're going to start with stretching your arm across your chest. Ooh, my arm just cracked, and yours might also. But you can feel it basically right through your back and your shoulder and your arm. And you should hold these stretches for about 10 seconds each. And then do the same thing with the other arm. Then after that, you can pull your elbow up over your head like this. And you can feel that stretch right through here and in through your back. And then once you do that, you can repeat these exercises as many times as possible. You can move on to your wrists. And we're going to start with stretching this part of the wrist by pulling your hand gently towards you. Don't pull too hard. You don't want to hurt yourself. Just feel it sort of warmly burn through here. Hold that for 10 seconds. And then do the opposite this way. And you can feel that burn through here. Don't pull too hard and don't crack your knuckles. You're just trying to stretch the wrist. The last stretch is your thumb, and what you're going to do is gently pull your thumb towards your arm this way, and you can feel the muscle stretch throughout here. And then repeat the same procedure with the other hand, and you can do this as many times as you feel necessary. You should hold each stretch once again for 10 seconds each. Now let's move on to massages. Okay, basically, when we massage the muscle, we're stimulating blood flow, and this type of thing you can do in between exercises or during a practice session. I even do this during a gig. So let me show you the areas that might be sore or cramped up. Basically, starts with your shoulder muscles, the front of your shoulder, up in here, and use a pretty strong amount of pressure. You can use either your thumb or the heel of your hand or your fingertips. And then the outside of your forearm, this tends to cramp up a lot. And then your hand, and once again you can use your thumb, and you can massage through your palm by using pretty strong pressure. And you can also individually do your fingers like this, going all the way to the tips. And this is great, once again, in between exercises. It really helps to keep your hands limber and loose. And there are other simple things you can do, by just like rubbing one hand with the next and whatnot. And these type of exercises between the stretching and massaging should get you prepared to actually play the instrument. And the great thing about these is that you don't have to be playing. This could be as you're walking into a session, or if you have a couple of minutes before you go on stage or whatever. And it should help you have a more productive practice or gig and also prevent injury, which is very important. Okay, now I'd like to demonstrate some warm-up exercises applied to the guitar. So pick up your guitars again. And basically what I'm going to show you is a few exercises concentrating on the stretching and independence of the left hand, and a few exercises concentrating on the freedom and accuracy of the right hand, and then we'll combine the two. Remember, the goal here is not to develop mega speed, but really just to warm up your hands and get them comfortable so later on we can accomplish some bigger tasks. So first let's work on the first left hand exercise. I suggest that you start this exercise higher up on the neck, because once we get into some stretches, it's going to be a little bit difficult as you go down low where the frets are bigger. And basically, your right hand isn't really that important right now. I was playing the notes separately. You can play them as chords if you'd like. You can play them without a pick. It really doesn't matter. We're concentrating on the left hand. Make sure that the notes ring out clearly, because what we're really working on is the stretching and independence of your left hand. Also use a pretty strong pressure. Now what's happening here is that I'm playing on 4 adjacent strings with a basic chord shape. It sounds pretty ugly. In fact, most of these chord shapes sound ugly, so turn your volume down when you practice. And then we're taking the 2 inside fingers, 2 and 3, and we're reversing them like this. Then we're taking your 2 outside fingers, 1 and 4, and reversing them. And then taking the 2 inside fingers and putting them back to their starting position. The next step is to just move up the chord shape to the next string group. So between the A and the B string, and repeat the same motion, and then move up to the last string group between the low E and the G string, and repeat the same 4 chords again.